Hi, I thought I'd show you how to adapt the Big Community Sew shaped face mask pattern to add a filter pocket. So you can get this on Big Community Sew, which is the face masks which are now going to be required to be worn for public transport. So these are great free patterns available for you to download. So the shaped face covering for adults, this has got obviously a shaped face covering here, and then this is sewn in and the seam. But if you want to adapt it to apply, make one with a pocket so you can put your own filter in, then you will need to cut out the pattern. You have the two pattern pieces. The lining, the back panel, you will need to reduce 1.5 centimeters along this edge here. So simply fold that or cut it off, and they are your two pattern pieces that you required. So once you've got your pieces cut out, you'll need to cut a pair of the lining, which I've got in the pale blue, and then the outer fabric, which I've done in the stripes. So the first thing you need to do is sew along the two curved edges, seam knit, and then they've got 1 centimeter seam allowance. Put right sides together and join them, and do that for the outer and the lining. Okay, so you'll then trim it off. Then you need to seam neaten the edges. So I'm going to take it to the overlocker and quickly do that. Otherwise you could use a zigzag or a tricot stitch to do this. So you can see I've now just seam neatened the edges, and we're working with the curved ones. Okay, and then I'm going to add a row of contrast stitching to hold this down. Now this is the outside, so this is my left hand, and I'm going to press the seams onto the left hand side, and then just apply 0.5 centimetre top stitching just to hold the shape and the seam down in place. And then do the same for the lining, but this time the lining is facing this way, left hand, and hold the seam allowance to the left hand side as worn. So then you've got the lining, the inside, and then the outside with your top stitching showing, and that just holds it in place when you're going to put your filter inside and outside and moving it. Now we need to, with the lining, the smaller one, seam neaten the edges or just double turn them. So I'll quickly overlock those. So the two shorter edges have been seam neatened, and then I'm just going to turn those to the inside because this is going to be the lining, the pocket, filter pocket. So we want a nice edge neatened. And then on the other side, make sure you trim all of your loose threads as you go. So now you've got the lining, which has got the seams, and they're all nice and neatened. So that's the inside, the wrong side, and that's as it will be worn against your face. Okay, so then what we need to do is seam neaten the outside edges, but leaving them just seam neaten, so an overlock or a zigzag. The two short straight edges on the outer. So you can see there, the seam neatened on the two straight edges. And then we're going to put the right sides together. Okay, so that's the good side and the good side, and we're going to place those together and match up at the top point. Now you're going to have an overhang. It's about 4 centimeters, and then we're just going to stitch those together. Sewing it up to your point. And then on the bottom edge, make sure you match up the centre front seams as well. And a 1 centimetre seam allowance. And then we're going to seam neaten all of those edges, from including the overhang all the way on both sides, all the way around. So a zigzag or an overlock. Okay, so you can see there the top and the bottom are seam neatened, all edges. This pocket obviously is nice and neat on the inside. Trim all the threads. Okay, and then we're going to turn it the right way, bag it out. So turn it through. So you have an option now. You can go and press it on the iron, or you can add an optional decorative top stitch, which will also give it some strength. That's what I'm going to do. So making sure you roll it so the seam's right on the edge, and then we're going to do a top stitch 1/2 centimetre, and I'm going to start it right from the overhang, and that will allow us to seam neaten the overhang, which will form the elastic channel. And we'll do that. That's the top shaped edge. I've stitched that along the top edge with the 1/4 inch, 1/2 centimetre seam allowance, and I'm going to do it on the bottom edge as well. Again, you can see that that's neatened that edge to form a channel. So I'm going to do that on this here, turn that under. It automatically folds because of the way that we've turned it through. Make sure you've got the seams on the edge. And put your finger inside to make sure that seam's on the edge if that's easier. Get a nice neat. This is optional, the top stitching, but it just gives it a nice finish and forms a nice hem for the elastic casing. So once you've done that, if you have a label, it's always nice to add your own label. You can pop this in at the same time. So I've got my garment label. And again, I like my labels on the left as I'm wearing my mask. I'll have it on the left. Now I would fold it, and then the right side, so the logo, goes against the good side and is placed halfway. And I'll just stitch that in place just to make life easier. You could seam neaten this in at the same time, as they tend to fray. That's just a stay stitch to hold it in place there. Okay, trim all your threads. So once you've done this, the last bit of sewing is that we fold your overlock. So we're going to do a double turn, but we're going to do it deeper to form the channel case, the channel for the elastic. So we're going to fold it 1/2 centimetre and then fold it over. It's awkward to do this. So we're going to do your seam allowed, just your seam neatened edge 1/2 centimetre, and then fold that so it butts up against your pocket. You don't want to stitch through the pocket. The one on the Sew Big Community Sew is doesn't have the filter pocket, so that one is then caught underneath. But this one with my filter, been adapted for a filter pocket, we just want to make sure we don't catch that. So we're going to stitch it without catching it. So you can see I've turned it, turn it again, and then do a nice edge stitch to catch just the outside, the top layer of fabric. Putting all the seam seam neaten in on the inside, so it's just a double deep hem, a bit like if you were doing a skirt hem. Okay, so you can see there, that's just got that edge stitch so that we can still get in the pocket, and then it's just done a row of stitching on the outside, but it's open here and you can see all the way through it, and that's where the elastic's going to go, and that's neatened. So we'll do the other side, turn it, seam neatening, and turn it again. Okay, and then that's where we're going to do our edge stitch, go backwards and forwards on the lock stitch. Okay, so that's where we've got the other end, and we've got that nice bit there, and that's where we're going to thread our elastic. So I've pre-cut my elastic to 20.5 centimetres. You can use a crochet hook, a safety pin. I've got a big needle just to thread that through. So what's really good about the these patterns is that we can change the elastic easily. So I just caught. Can easily change the elastic because if it's washed at 60 degrees, the elastic can sometimes perish. So we just pull it through, and then you can obviously adjust it to fit. But I've started with 20.5 centimeters, just a 5mm elastic, which seems to be average. Once you've decided and checked for fit, you can then twist that and put the elastic knot inside, but I'm leaving these like this for adjustability, and then people, once they've decided it's adjustable and fits nicely, or they can change them and add ties if they'd prefer ties rather than elastic, or you could have elastic that goes around the back of the head, so a bigger bit of elastic, but these ones are just for going around the ears, but easily changeable, interchangeable, which is what's really nice about this pattern. Okay, so there we have it. I would suggest that you pop a label on stating it's not PPE. It's there's Public Health of England. It's all on the Big Community Sew guidance on how to wear your face mask. Okay, obviously that's in mirror. A cloth face covering isn't PPE. You can wash it, either 100% cotton, you can wash it at 60 degrees, but they are now saying that you can just put it in your normal wash. It's the detergent, so it depends what you read. But anyway, this is a face mask adapted from the Big Community Sew shaped mask pattern, shaped face covering, which is available to download from Big Community Sew, and I have adapted it so that you now have a pocket that you can put a filter in, and the filter can be anything from a simple piece of kitchen roll or a coffee filter, or one that you purchase. And they can be worn with glasses. And it fits nicely behind the ears and over.